Fast food workers, what is your sir? This is a Wendy's moment. First of all, FCKUOP for making me relive this. Now, working at McDonald's. Every single day at the same time. 16:00 this old guy would come in and order his food. Most people knew that he wanted a special order. Overcook the shitty out of the patty. Started up right when he walked in. Anyway, that's not the problem. That was easy. The problem is this dude was forgetful as all hell. And would demand a ceramic plate to eat on every time. So that's when we would explain it to him. Dude, this is McDonald's. We don't have plates. And he'd usually be like, oh right. Right. But sometimes he would just rant about how we should have plates. I saw him absolutely flip the FCK out. Because a girl stepped outside the break room with a plate of food she brought from home. I knew you bastards had plates and could not convince him otherwise ever thereafter. Keep it in the break room is the moral of the story. I work at a Chili's, and when I was hosting, old people would constantly come in and talk about how weird it was that we redecorated so suddenly and where did the salad bar go? They thought we were Sizzlers, which was 2 buildings away from us. Happened at least 4 times. It wasn't me involved, but I witnessed it. I worked at Burger King when I was a teenager. We are short staffed one day. And the girl on the drive-thru was on break, so our manager stepped in to cover her. He was pretty old and didn't have the best hearing. So most customers were pulling around to the window to talk to him as he was struggling to hear through the headset. Anyway, this one guy rolls up to the window and shouts, "I want a large Big Mac meal with a Coke please." Is that so damn hard? Double quote. My manager very calmly says, "My apologies sir. That won't be difficult." He leans out of the window and points down the road. There's a McDonald's about 3 miles in that direction. They'll be able to help. Have a nice day sir. Then he just closes the window and walks around the corner out of sight. I laughed so hard. Back when I was in fast food, I had someone who wanted me to remove all the sesame seeds from the top of a bun. The answer was no. Edit. Some people have discovered the solution we went with, 2 bottom buns. Also our solution for anyone with an allergy, etc. The crazy part wasn't wanting to avoid sesame. It was requesting a top bun with the sesame removed by hand. Worked at a Dairy Queen. Had a lady saunter in all frustrated. Bag in hand. Whipped out her receipt and without giving me much context said, "There's sup to be a Baja Blast." I told her, "Ma'am, this is for Taco Bell." She quickly said my bad and sped out of the restaurant. I think she was making up a story and did it in the wrong store. Also, the number of people who asked, "Do you serve ice cream?" is way too fucking high. I was the manager at an overnight shift at a burger place. Drunks were always trying to order pizza and other dumb stuff. One night a guy insisted he wanted a pizza, so I said alright, but it will be $100 and take like an hour. We was like cool, came around and gave me $100 at the window. There was 4 of us there, so I told the dude to park, sent a worker to the grocery store across the parking lot to buy a Red Baron, brought it back, cooked it in our oven, took out to the dude who had fallen asleep in his car. The 4 of us split the off of $95. I knew a dude in high school who would order pizza at non-pizza places. He did it at D'Angelo's, a sub shop chain. The woman just looks at him and goes, "Order something off the menu." Anyways, that guy's a lawyer now. I used to manage a Del Taco during my high school teenage years. We had an older man come in once a month and drive straight through the speaker to our window. At said window he'd look at me until I came over. Start ordering Starbucks. Then midway through realizing it was a Del Taco and drive off. Once a month. Every month. For 2 years. I worked in a Jimmy John's. A dude in a military uniform came in asking about a military discount. Told him we don't give military discounts. To which he proceeded to flip out. Pull out his phone and start recording a video. Ranting about how we won't give him his military discount like he deserves. I had someone ask if we gave military discounts. The answer was no. The reason why it was memorable was because I live and work in Australia and he was an American. Even if we did give military discounts, it wouldn't be for a foreign country's military. Worked at a small roadside produce place. My boss had a few different stalls, so I was often left to run the stall myself. I remember this lady walked up. "Do you have any tomatoes?" "Sorry, we don't. But the place down the street has them." "Then go there." Double quote. I've said this before to people. I work at a post office counter in Canada with a guy sending a letter to Toronto, or something. Basically, when a letter is thicker than 2 centimeters, it's a parcel, which includes tracking, and the price is like $10 more than a normal letter. Dude comes in with a 3 centimeter thick package. I inform him it'll be like $12 or something, and he says, "Well, at the place I went to yesterday it was only $2. 0.4 inches," and I responded with, "Then go there." Double quote. Semi-related. Folks in the Taco Bell drive-thru asked, "I shit you not, every day. How much are the dollar grillers?" Double quote. Every fucking day. When I worked at KFC, people would always ask how much the $5 fill-ups are. But I'm in Alaska where fast food prices are jacked, so it was a valid question. Edit. And it seems like this isn't uncommon in the lower 48 either. Not exactly a fast food worker, but I do work in a restaurant and people can get Deliveroo Uber Eats from us. A couple times a week a driver will show up and show us their phone with an order for a 12-inch sub. Yeah mate. That's the Subway across the street. We're a pizzeria. Read the address. God knows how they find the customers' houses. Almost definitely the Subway has their address listed wrong. I deliver for Uber Eats and the GPS takes me to the weirdest places sometimes. Last time I had an order from a Mexican restaurant and the app wanted me to drive to Chuck E. Cheese's. I worked at a Wendy's. Had one guy try to order McNuggets over the speaker. When I asked what size they wanted, they got all defensive that I wouldn't call them McNuggets. Fine. I'll take a Whopper. A Dave's Double? Or Baconator? Double quote. Needless to say, they screamed at me and zoomed off into the smog set. Worst year of my life. Back when I worked at Burger King years ago, we always used to get people coming in and ordering Big Macs and other stuff from McDonald's. The cashiers just said screw it and put in orders for Whoppers or whatever the closest parallel was for whatever they ordered. There were even a few conversion charts near the cash registers just so we could save ourselves the headache of figuring out what to put in. It's stupid. But nobody really complained about the food they got, so I guess that's a win. The downside was that quite a few guys also treated the place as a place to try and pick up dates when female cashiers were around. So, yeah. That went over poorly thanks to management. When I was really young and had recently tried fried calamari, I confused it with the fried clam strips at White Castle. I was adamant that they had fried calamari and convinced my dad to order it for me at the window. They laughed at him. Not fast food, but in the hospital. I had a patient throw her hospital toothbrush at me because it wasn't up to her standards and demand to be transferred to a better room with better service. Mum. This is a hospital, not the Marriott. We were super happy to offer her the form to leave AMA to aid in her quest for better rooms and better service. Let us know what ya find. Lady. I often have this same experience. Get me a couple washcloths. And not ones that are all thin and worn out. Buddy. They're all the same. We don't keep the good washcloths hidden away for people with better insurance. A customer asked for ice cream. I looked at my co-worker and we gave each a WTF look. I asked him to repeat his order and he asked for ice cream again until I had to say, "Sir, this is Tim Hortons. We don't sell ice cream." I'm pretty sure he was high. I worked at a pizza place and I got a complaint that we delivered sushi. It was a pepperoni pizza. But he could not be convinced. I work in a small town grocery store. Not fast food but still retail. Once when I was first starting out at the store, a stereotypical neckbeard walked in the store and asked if we sold dildos. I kid you not. I told him that we were a family-friendly grocery store and didn't carry those items. He ended up just buying Hot Pockets and ice cream. I work at a legal cannabis store. We always have people asking if we sell alcohol. But sometimes we're asked for more fun stuff like shrooms or heroin. It's not that exciting. But in my town we have 2 KFCs. One of them is a joint KFC A&W. I used to work at the standalone place and we would always have people try to order burgers, shakes, cheese curds and other A&W products because they didn't realize that they are different restaurants. I was working the front counter at Taco Bell, and an older lady walked in to tell me about the gun she had just bought and was concealed carrying. She then was trying to talk to me about gun laws. I was 17. I worked at a Chipotle for 4 years and got some pretty interesting requests. But I'll never forget the time someone ordered soup. Chipotle doesn't have soup. I promptly reminded her this was a Chipotle. But she insisted we could do it. So we made her soup at Chipotle. It was the grossest concoction of bean juice, sofritas, mild, medium and hot salsa, and sour cream. She was stoked. I wasn't a worker, but pre-COVID I went to get at some random breakfast place at 5 AM in AC. Probably my first mistake. Some random guy was watching porn with no headphones. The managers and workers just let it happen. I kept my head down and waited for my boyfriend to get back from that bathroom because I knew he'd say something. FCK if that wasn't the longest 5 minutes of my life. If you're female and even marginally attractive you should have started critiquing the film. Guys expect us to run and hide from anything overtly sexual. A woman expressing distaste for the camera angle or genre would confuse him so much. I work at an ice cream shop and a lot of people come to the window and ask stupid things. One lady had the audacity to call us and ask if we had ramen noodles. Does the word ice cream and the name of our shop give any hints to you? Some other guy also asked if we had pizza. Really? My mom once pulled into a McDonald's drive-thru thinking it was the Tim Hortons next door. She was extremely confused when the drive-thru attendant welcomed her to McDonald's and then just sheepishly drove away. An educated man, by his account, would often come into the burger joint to get a cheap coffee and sometimes a breakfast sandwich. He would rant about men of reverence and power who would interact with him because he was smart or skilled or something. He smelled homeless. His truck had unidentifiable rubbish in the back. In the cab, he could only fit himself. Saw him parked at the Walmart across the street. More than once. It wasn't just the stories he told me. It was the conviction and ferocity that made it even more surreal. Here's your coffee, sir. Looks past him. Next. Y'all wouldn't believe the amount of disappointed rich people who come to Panda Express and find out we aren't serving authentic Chinese food. Once a well-traveled rich woman came into Panda Express and stood at the buffet line for about 10 minutes. Critiquing our mistakes and explaining how Chinese cuisine doesn't actually have fried wontons with cream cheese filling. Mum. We just fry what came in the bag from a warehouse in California. I wonder if their brains could handle knowing there's no such thing as authentic Chinese. That the country is enormous. Has multiple ethnic groups that prepare common dishes their own way. And that the majority of what you find in American restaurants was still invented by Chinese cooks. Not fast food. But I worked a kitchen at a microbrew for a while that specifically served deli sandwiches. Giant chalkboard menu and plenty of paper menus available all over the taproom. It was so common for people to walk up and demand a burger and fries or pizza that for a time, before they sold a third of the company and tried to clean up their image, the appropriate response from the staff was, "We don't have that, but we do have a menu you can look at and I'll be waiting right here for you." Double quote. Not sure if this exactly fits. But I worked for one fast food restaurant and we needed to have a store-wide meeting. I can't remember who manned the store during the meeting, but we couldn't do it at the restaurant because we take up too much space. So we always had them at parks or whatever. But it was winter so we had to find a place indoors. I have no idea how the whole thing transpired, but we had the meeting at a fast food restaurant that had closed down many years ago and had been vacant that whole time. The whole time we were in there people kept coming through the drive-thru trying to order. It just kept beeping and we couldn't turn off the beeping, so we had to hop on the speaker to tell them to leave. Our cars were in the parking lot, but there was absolutely nothing else to indicate we were open or even what restaurant this was. It was an Arby's briefly, but it had also been 2 different other chains before that. So there's no sign, no marquee, no menu. Like, what did the people even think they were ordering? They never held the meetings there again. Don't work in fast food. This was an incident I was witness to. I go to KFC for dinner one night. The customer in front of me is ranting and raving at the clerk. I overhear a bit of the conversation, and the man is ranting at the clerk about the old NES game Castlevania II. Customer: it was such a scam. The whole game was designed that you couldn't play it without buying the Nintendo Power Strategy Guide. Gen Z clerk: what's Nintendo Power? I could see the pained look on the clerk's face as she immediately regretted asking that. The man then launches into the history of Nintendo Power. Luckily, the clerk sees me and forms her exit strategy. Sir, you need to wrap this up. We've got to line forming. Dude sees me and has the decency to end his lecture and go wait for his chicken in silence. I used to work at Target and they hired a new girl, who had previously worked at Walmart, to work the fitting rooms, and by default the intercom system. A few days after she started, she was about to make an announcement over the intercom, and I guess habit took over because she started the announcement with "Attention Walmart shoppers." She realized her mistake and made a good recovery with, "You are in the wrong store." My family runs a concessions trailer at fairs. Lots of great stories, but this one always sticks out. We have a giant 16-bay steam table directly in front of the serving counter. It's old and some pans don't sit quite right, so there's always a bit of steam leaking out. Our trailer is built around one item: empanadas. Not really, but similar. The trailer is even called that. All the signs advertise empanadas in big letters. So one day it's like 90 diuresis out and sweat is just running off of all of us. We're packed. The line is running down the street. And we're 8 servers deep at the window. Customer comes up to the window after standing in line for probably 15 minutes. Sees us with soaked shirts and headbands. Steam pouring out of the table, and they ask, "What flavors of ice cream do you have?" Double quote. Well, it wasn't fast food, but when I worked at a library, someone asked where they could order food. They were dead serious and couldn't comprehend that we didn't serve food. The closest thing I've had happen while working in fast food was when I explained to a customer that we had Coke products for our drinks. Listed out all the different drinks we had. And then they asked if we had Mountain Dew or Dr. Pepper. What if I was the idiot? I wasn't fully paying attention and walked into a Colored Jr. and just assumed I was at Burger King. It was next door, and I walked in and kept asking for a Whopper, and the lady was just confused. I kept asking and she just kept ignoring me, prob assuming I was trying to screw with her. After about 2 minutes of just her ignoring me, I am a teenager with my other friends, so we probably just looked like we were trying to cause problems. Eventually she just got pissed off and told me that I wasn't where I thought I was. After leaving, I looked back and realized my friends never told me and just let me be an idiot while they were laughing at me and just calling me several variations of dumb. When I was in high school, I worked at a local restaurant and we always had people from all over the country coming in to eat because they were in town to get their motorhome serviced repaired. They would always ask for alcohol and we didn't sell it because we were in a dry county. Then we would have to explain what a dry county is.